We're back. Isaiah's alive. I'm alive.
Oh, you're doing the intro now. We are back yet again with the thiccmaninc podcast for the final week of regular season predictions for the 2022 season. And what a ride it has been. First, I would like to thank you, dear viewers at home. We went from getting about 12 views a video at the start of the season to getting like a few hundred to several hundred. It's very nice. We appreciate you. You guys rock. Other nice things.
Well, we also went from about, I think, 100 subscribers to now over 4,800, which is a big fucking jump on YouTube.
Hey, mind your language, son. And the money will be rolling in here very soon. The YouTube bots do not like you saying those mean, naughty curse words in the first 20 seconds. Anyway, on to the games. First off, we've got some exhilarating Saturday football with the Kansas City Chiefs squaring off against the Las Vegas Raiders. And right now, the Chiefs are playing for the 1 seed, which means they are rolling Mahomes, they are rolling Kelsey, they are rolling Chris Jones, they are rolling all their players out to face off against Jarrett Stidham. And while Jarrett Stidham did look better than Derek Carr has for large points this season in his last game, I still don't think he is going to be able to do enough to play and beat the best quarterback in all football, particularly when you consider how dismal the Raiders defense is. This game's pretty simple to predict. Mahomes is going to air raid the Raiders defense and elevate them to an easy win and the 1 seed.
Well, I gotta apologize to Jarrett Stidham a little bit because in that video I posted about Derek Carr, I really attacked Stidham. I said he was no good, very bad, much in the same way it was disrespectful when the Giants benched Eli back in the day. I didn't think it was exactly the right move to bench Derek Carr, but Jarrett Stidham still went out and did his thing, threw for over 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, did have 2 interceptions, which you kind of expect from him, but he did a lot better than I think everyone was expecting him to. He lit the defense up, and this week, it would be cool. I think he may put on a good performance. We've seen the Broncos somehow put up points on this Chiefs defense, a defense that's not really all that great. On the Chiefs, their offensive line is not really all that great. The only really, truly elite thing I think the Chiefs have is Patrick Mahomes. Receiving weapons outside of Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce's elite, but Patrick Mahomes is propping up that team because that defense is not, it's one of their weaker points that we've seen earlier in the season. And maybe Jarrett Stidham goes in there, throws for another 350 yards. It's a lot closer than we all expect, and the Raiders pull it out. But at the end of the day, I don't think that will happen because Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, they need to get this win with the 1 seed. They don't know what exactly is going to happen with the cancellation, if there's now going to be 8 teams in the playoffs, if the 1 seeds they don't know how it's going to be formatted and how that's going to break down. So they have to win this game. They've lost 3 games all season, and I don't expect them to lose to the Raiders, who are still trying out all their young talent.
It's just not going to happen. But on to a game which means much more than simply the 1 seed. It means a playoff spot, where the Jacksonville Jaguars mysteriously are playing their playoff game a week early on Saturday Night Football against the Tennessee Titans. And this game could be very interesting for 2 things. One, Trevor Lawrence is playing all-pro football. He has looked phenomenal the past month or 2. You compare his numbers to the other elite quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. He is right up there with them in the past stretch here. Unfortunately, he's having to face off against Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry has been the Jaguars' boogeyman in recent years. And if Derrick Henry gets going, that is the only way the Titans have a chance of victory. Their quarterback situation, not horrible. Dobbs isn't the worst quarterback option you got out there. He's certainly a serviceable backup, but he's not quite as good as Tannehill. The receiving core is still bad, and that offense runs through King Henry, which, hey, it's not a bad engine. But that is going to be the story going into this week. The defenses definitely favor the Jaguars, so I'm going to slide the win to Jacksonville.
At the end of the day, neither of these 2 teams really deserve to be in the playoffs. Neither of these teams are good. This is much like the discussion we were having when the NFC East was an absolute dumpster fire over the last 4 to 5 years. The NFC South, or AFC South, is a horrible division. None of the teams are all that great. And the team I want to see out of this matchup is Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. I want to see what he can accomplish in the playoffs, as he has really come on with that receiving core and those offensive weapons later in the year. They've been putting up big numbers. They lit up the Cowboys, came back in that game, a defense that is better than most, has a great pass rush. So especially with all the injuries the Titans have been having, the game being in Duval, I fully expect Trevor Lawrence to go out there and win. If he doesn't, that's going to be a bit of a disappointment, and we're all going to be forced to have to watch the Titans in the playoffs, who I think are going to get steamrolled by whoever they play.
Well, it's a bit disrespectful to say the Jaguars shouldn't be in the playoffs. They win this game, they're going to be a 9-8 team, I believe. They played close to the Chiefs, beat the Ravens, beat the Cowboys, beat the Jets, and already beat the Titans pretty convincingly. So that's a good team. That's a team which is hot right now. They belong in the playoffs. If it's a wild card or a division winner, who knows? Maybe they're a bit highly seeded, but the Jaguars should be there if they win, and I think they will. On to some nice irrelevant games. And we first off got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers moseying on over to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. This game doesn't matter. The NFC South has already fallen to the Buccaneers. I don't think they're going to roll out their A team to play Atlanta. And the only interesting storylines is surrounding the quarterback situation in Atlanta. And I don't really care. Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ridder, both kind of stink. I'm not going to concern myself with predicting that. The Buccaneers are going to win, but it's an irrelevant game. Maybe the Falcons pull it out. I don't care.
Well, the only thing I have to say about this game is I don't really think the Buccaneers are going to play a lot of their starters. They got the NFC South locked up. They don't need to keep Mike Evans in there. They don't need to keep Chris Godwin in there. They don't need to keep Tom Brady in there. They don't need to keep some of their defense in there the entire game. They have the NFC, their playoff seed. They can't improve it. They can't make it worse. It's locked up. I don't really see them going out there and trying to beat this Falcons team. And the only other thing I want to say about the Buccaneers is, why did Mike Evans have to put up 200 yards and 3 touchdowns last week? You could have spread that out over the season. That way I had a little bit of help in my fantasy matchup. That wasn't cool. I don't care who wins. I think the Falcons win just because the Bucs rest starters.
On to a relevant game now. The Patriots are taking on the Buffalo Bills in Orchard Park, and we will see, I believe, a fairly one-sided affair. The offense, while better in recent weeks, is still not good for New England. The Bills' defense has been devastated by injuries, but still one of the top 10, top 15 units in the NFL. That'll be plenty to stop the Pats, and Josh Allen is Josh Allen, and Stephon Diggs is Stephon Diggs. Bills are going to win this one and effectively eliminate the Patriots from the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the Bills pull this one out. Although the Patriots have been playing better over recent weeks. They pulled out a victory last week. Mac Jones, for once, didn't look completely horrible like he has a majority of the season. Patricia's play calling, not quite as bad as it's been the majority of the season. But the game's going down in Buffalo. Josh Allen's Josh Allen. Stephon Diggs, he hasn't had a great game in a while. I think we're going to see Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs put up a big performance, get to that 13-3 record, and make a push for that one seed in playoffs with whatever happens in the AFC conference.
On to a nice irrelevant game. I'm glad we agree on that one, where the Minnesota Vikings face off against the Chicago Bears. And look, this game might decide who the 2 seed is. The Vikings win, the 49ers lose. They get the 2 seed. The 49ers are probably not losing given what they're going up against, but the Vikings definitely are losing given they're going up against Nathan Peterman. Minnesota's going to go out there. The only significant thing which could come from this game is Kirk decides, hey, I'm going to feed Justin Jefferson against this weak Bears secondary, and he tries to break the single season receiving yards. Right? That is the only thing to watch with this game. The Vikings are going to smoke them. Justin Fields is not playing. They got no shot.
Yeah, with a passing game that is not developed from a scheme standpoint and talent standpoint, and you don't have Justin Fields out there to run the ball, and the run game hasn't looked as special in recent weeks, the Bears don't stand a chance against the Vikings. Although with how horrific that defense is, maybe it gets close late, even with Nathan Peterman. But the Vikings, they should win this one. Keyword should.
The beauty of this game, the Vikings can maybe get back to a positive point differential. Not that stat really means anything, but they're minus 18 on the season right now. A nice 19-point blowout, so they're +1 headed in the postseason is really what I want to see. And speaking of heading into the postseason, both the Ravens and the Bengals are playoff bound. Bengals obviously won the division. Ravens wildcard team. Lamar Jackson's not playing this week. The Ravens can't really move up and down in standings, so I think they rest their guys. And we are going to see the Cincinnati Bengals absolutely throttle them. Maybe it's a close game of points. Maybe the backups rise to the occasion, put some good film out there so they can get new contracts. But the Bengals are winning this game. Not much to say. Not much to say about many.
I mean, the Ravens, they're so bad without Lamar Jackson. I know that narrative has been floated out there that Tyler Huntley, maybe they don't pay Lamar Jackson because they like Tyler Huntley that much. Tyler Huntley is not winning any games with the Ravens this year, so I don't see any reason why they choose Tyler Huntley over MVP Lamar Jackson. But like you said, the Ravens aren't playing for much. Their playoff seeding is pretty settled at this point. And the Bengals, they're still playing for that tiebreaker with the Bills. No, are they playing for a tiebreaker?
Yeah.
Well,
it's got
if the Bills lose, then they have 12 wins. That whole situation's weird. Either way, I think they could still affect their seeding if they pull out and win in this one. It's a home game for them, so I fully expect them to win. Maybe either team kind of rest starters and they don't care who pulls out the victory necessarily, but the Bengals should win.
On to a riveting AFC South matchup between the Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans. And this game is going to be what defines Jeff Saturday for him, how I feel about him going into the offseason. He's playing a bad team. The Colts know they're going up against a team who is maybe going to get the first overall pick. If he can get that team going when they're already eliminated from the playoffs, get them fired up, go out there and drop 40 on the Texans while shutting them out, I think Jeff Saturday would be an alright coach. Being able to motivate guys in a meaningless game is a very valuable skill. And Saturday going to show that I think the Colts will be in decent hands, better hands than the previous administration, certainly for years to come.
You know
and
what?
I think this is what's going to happen because the Texans want that first overall pick. It doesn't matter who they throw out there at quarterback. They're going to be the tank commander, the tank general, the tank supreme leader. The Texans are going to get Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. I don't know. I don't care. Neither are going to do well by that terrible O-line, but they are going to lose spectacularly.
That is exactly what's not going to happen in this game. And this game, for all the wrong reasons, might be the most exciting game this weekend. It's not that long ago that the Jets were in a very similar situation where all they had to do is lose, and they have Trevor Lawrence sitting at their lap. And Trevor Lawrence on this current Jets team, probably a Super Bowl contender. But they won those last 2 games this season, really built that momentum, and then they got stuck with Zach Wilson. That's what's going to happen here. Lovie Smith, we knew he was only going to be the coach for a year. On his way out.
Not true.
He's going to motivate this Texans team. He is going to get the 3rd win of the season. They are going to fall to the 2nd overall pick, and they are not going to choose the specific quarterback they want to be the future of their franchise. Texans win this one. Jeff Saturday looks worse than he's ever been through the back half of this season. I don't even know who he is at this point. Shout out to Kayvon Thibodeau.
You're Texans not Thibodeau, son. You know Jeff Saturday is. 6-time Pro Bowl. Put some respect on that name. Lovie Smith's going to get a 2nd year. Don't mistake. The only way he doesn't if he manages to F up their tank. He's not going to do that. He knows what the assignment is. Texans are losing this game. On to a basic playoff game in a way. The Dolphins are hosting the New York Jets. And I've talked about this game a little bit previously. The Dolphins are going in there without Tua, without Waddle, a lot of pieces. And they're facing off against Mike White. I'm not confident. I have very little faith in anyone the Dolphins can control. Teddy Bridgewater, Mike Glennon, I don't care who it is. If it's not Tua, they're not winning. And the Jets, they got Mike White, Spirit of New York. They're playing for pride. They're playing for New York. They're playing for Jersey. They're playing for everyone. They're playing for bonuses. They are playing to win this game. Saleh is a great coach. He is going to get this team fired up. And the Jets are going to spectacularly crash into the Dolphins stadium in a day reminiscent of other historical events and ruin their season. The Dolphins are not making the playoffs because the Jets are going to win.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how the Dolphins have somehow gotten worse, adding one of the best receivers in the NFL to their roster from what they were last season with Brian Flores. It's almost as if Mike McDaniels, or it's almost as if Brian Flores was one of the best coaches in the NFL, and the Dolphins got rid of him. That's not to say Mike McDaniels is bad. He's just not Brian Flores. Brian Flores with Tyreek Hill and Teddy Bridgewater, and really any quarterback there, would have had the Dolphins in the playoffs at this point. Maybe he wouldn't, maybe Tua would still be pissed off at him, and Tua wouldn't have looked as good as he did early in the season, but the Dolphins would have been in the playoffs. And when it comes down to this game, I think the Dolphins are going to pull it out. I can't pick against the more talented offense with Tyreek Hill, Waddle. As much as it'd be cool to see the Dolphins kicked out, I think the Dolphins are going to win.
Your hatred of Mike McDaniel, love Flores, is logical. Flores had a horrible relationship with the 5th overall draft pick, who has clearly proven this season he can be very good, and couldn't get over the fact the team wouldn't draft the player he wanted to. If Tua is healthy this entire season and does not have the concussion problems, which have been unprecedented throughout his career, this team is easily a playoff team and conceivably could have competed for the division. They beat the Bills early in the season. They would have beat the Bengals if Tua had not gotten that injury. And if they could just get Tua healthy next season, this is a Super Bowl contending team. You are a hater. You are delusional. Flores is not better than McDaniels. Offense is more important than defense. Flores didn't even have that highly ranked of a defense when you go back and look at the numbers. They were average in points allowed. Don't give me that look. You clearly don't understand the homework assignment, son. And even if the Dolphins lose this game and get kicked out of the playoffs, their future is bright. On to 2 teams without a bright future, with no future even.
You don't even want me to respond,
Darnold,
I see.
I don't care what you have to say. On to teams with no future. Sam Darnold may be looking fine this year. Fine enough to get an extension from the Carolina Panthers. This will doom their franchise. Darnold is not him. He'll never be him. He's a West Coast kid playing on the East Coast. On to the Saints. They're about to be in cap hell. Sean Payton is not coming home to save you. He's not going to be your coach. He's not going to be your GM. He's not going to fix the $80 billion over the cap you are. And this game is between 2 teams who should have tanked a long time ago. In the reality that you somehow turn your TV on and, oh man, local coverage. I only get to watch the Panthers and the Saints play on Sunday. Pick the Saints to win. Make a little gamble. They're going to beat the Panthers. Darnold's going to look up for like 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. Saints are going to pull it out with some Taysom Hill tomfoolery. And we are going to see New Orleans get their hopes up going into the offseason, rally around this win, only to follow it up with a 3-14 season.
I see the exact opposite happening. I think the Panthers are going to pull this one out. They've really developed that rushing attack without Christian McCaffrey, Donta Foreman, Chuba Hubbard, 2-headed monster. Sam Darnold hasn't been horrific since he's rejoined the Panthers and been a part of that offense. So I think the Panthers are the hotter team, if there's any such thing as a hot team with 2 teams that are playing that are both below 500. So I think the Panthers pull this one out. Both defenses aren't all that great. And I feel like the Panthers, they just have the offense that's really got things going right now. I think the Saints offense has been largely disappointing, mostly because Alvin Kamara hasn't been the Alvin Kamara we've seen every single year of his career.
Crazy what happens when you assault someone. Calling Foreman and Chuba two-headed monsters like calling a Chihuahua a werewolf. Let's be respectful. There's some two-headed monsters out there, one in Green Bay, one in Dallas. That ain't one of them, Chief. The only thing going for the Panthers has been their nice, hard AstroTurf field. Unfortunately for them, they're playing the Superdome. Off to the AFC North, where we see the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting Cleveland Browns legend Deshaun Watson and the rest of his team. And the Browns faithful got themselves a little bit worked up, didn't watch the game, watched the box score, saw, oh man, Deshaun Watson, 3 touchdown passes. Wow, he's back. He's not back, he'll never be back. He's a bum still, and the Steelers defense is going to have a field day. The Browns might score, in a perfect world, 20 points. Paired with how great that Steelers offense has been in recent weeks, at least compared to what had been early in the season, how good Penny Pickett has looked compared to earlier in the season, and this game is going to be a one-sided affair. The Steelers are going to win and punch their ticket to the postseason as the 7th seed.
Yeah, I mean, we all know how me and you feel about Deshaun Watson. We don't think he's any good, and we've been pounding the table, and I've definitely been pounding the table that the Steelers are going to keep Mike Tomlin's 500 or above record. That streak, they're going to keep it alive. He seemingly
you
can't
have said
go...
so many effing times this year that streak is dead.
What are you doing? No.
Pounding the table. You have been pounding tails saying the streak was dead.
I've been saying that for like the last 5 weeks. What do you want?
Been saying it's dead for the last 5 weeks. Come on, pound
You're
the table.
smoking meth.
You were a hater, a tremendous hater.
No.
You are flipping things up. You may switch up in recent weeks. Oh, I've been saying it forever since the start of the team in a lot. When that season looked over, they're like 3-7. Oh, the streak's over. The streak's over. We were all. Don't try and retroactively change your take. Come on now. What are we doing?
I don't know at all what you're talking about. Maybe
early.
If you're going to ask me a question, let me respond.
The question for you. I'm answering my own question.
It's my turn.
The algorithm is there. They'll go back and watch the videos in their timeline.
If you want to go back to week 5, maybe I said it is dead. But for the last 5 weeks, since like week 12 or whenever TJ Watt returned, I said when TJ Watt returned, the Steelers were going to turn things around. I'm the one who had that take first. Don't spin this narrative. I'll send you. We can go back to that very game that TJ Watt came back.
I'll do you one better. On to the
You're wrong. The Steelers are going to win regardless.
NFC East. We both think the Steelers are going to win. Shut up and dribble. On to the NFC East. And this is a must-lose game for the New York Giants. Because if they manage to pull off the upset victory while resting their starters against the Eagles, that will doom us to the Cowboys earning the 1 seed in the NFC. And the suffering we will have to endure as NFL fans will be unbearable. For that reason, I am picking the Eagles. I don't care if they got Minshew. I don't care if they got Blaine Gabbert. I don't care if they got Tristan, the quarterback. The Eagles are going to win this game because they must win this game. The NFL demands they win this game. Now, I do believe the Eagles will rise to the occasion on this one. So they're beating New York.
The Eagles, they're going to destroy the Giants. The Giants have no reason to play. They're locked into the 6th seed. They can't improve their record. If the Giants roll their starters out there, I'd be shocked. Why don't you give Tyrod Taylor some run in case he needs to step in the playoffs? Hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully Daniel Jones stays healthy. But that's the smart move in my opinion. You don't need to roll Saquon out there. Someone who struggled with injuries through the majority of his career. There's no reason for the Giants to play starters. The Eagles are going to keep Jalen Hurts in. I think he'll probably start the game just to secure that victory, and the Eagles should win. They're at home. Should be an easy victory given the circumstances.
One can only hope. Speaking of easy victories, Ron Rivera does know they can be eliminated from the playoffs. Turns out they got eliminated from the playoffs. The Cowboys are facing off against the Commanders, and Rivera's lost the locker room. He's gone after this season. As incompetent as everything in that administration is, it shocks me that we keep one-upping each other. This week it's Snyder doing all the felonies. Next week it's Ron Rivera not knowing anything about football. He's out of there. He is not going to be a commander. And he is going in a spectacular loss. The Cowboys are going to go scorched earth in an attempt to earn the 1 seed in this 425 game. And it won't matter, but they're still going to blow them out.
Yeah, the Giants are going to win this one. Commanders, they're already out of the playoffs. Cowboys need to win this game. I think they're going to look to build that momentum into the playoffs, especially if the Eagles find a way to lose. Then they're the 1 seed. And I think I don't know if they have the tiebreaker over the 49ers. Did they play the 49ers? I don't know. But they're going to win this game. They're playing for momentum. They're playing for potentially being the 1 seed. They win this game easily.
On to the AFC West. And the Chargers are playing for something here. Conceivably, they could advance their seedings, fall within their seedings. The Ravens win and they lose. They're going to get bumped down a seed. Granted, they'll have the outcome of this game by the time the game kicks off at 425, so that could see a few things change up. But I'm still going to pick the Chargers. I think they'll roll their stars out there, at least for the first half. And the LA offense should be able to put away Russ and the Denver defense, which has clearly given up on the season after that Baker Mayfield dominance. And I don't know what else to say. This one is going to be a Chargers victory. Another boring Broncos game to cap off the season. Broncos country has died.
Chargers are red hot. Justin Herbert's red hot. The offense is healthy. Could they potentially improve their seed if the Ravens lose? Is that the case?
Well, they could lose seeding if the Ravens win. The Ravens are already currently behind them. I think the Bengals are in front of them, but I'm not sure about the tiebreaker. But either way, I don't think they can improve their seeding.
And the Broncos, not all that good. They're still suffering from the fact they paid Russell Wilson that much money. So Chargers are going to win. Don't see the Broncos pulling it out. Chargers offense is healthy. Joey Bosa may be back. Did he play? I don't know if he played. I should have looked that up. But Chargers are going to win. Chargers
healthy at the right time, and for the record, they cannot improve their seeding because they're currently the 5 seed, and the Chiefs will not be losing the division. On to the Seahawks Rams.
Oh, duh.
And Baker Mayfield is coming into this game with the support of the entire NFL behind him, because the NFL doesn't want the Seahawks to make the playoffs. They hate Geno Smith. They don't want to see him win. They are a tremendous group of haters, and they want Aaron Rodgers to go back to the playoffs as the 7th seed. They are setting Seattle up here. Their calls are going to go against it. Everything is going against them. Officiating, penalties, just the field is going to be dumped in water somehow. The Seahawks are playing against the NFL this week, and I don't think they're going to be able to beat them. I hope they do, but I don't think they're going to. The league wants the Seahawks to lose, and with how hot Baker Mayfield has got that offense, I think they are going to lose. I'm going to give this one to the Rams.
I don't see any way the Seahawks will lose this game. They're the better team. They're the better offense. They're an offense that's actually healthy, actually has receiving weapons. As much as I like Baker Mayfield and
lies.
You've just been spewing absolute crap this podcast.
You like Baker Mayfield. Since when? You like him as a Ram? You were all out on him as a Panther.
When have I ever disliked him outside of the fact of the whole Odell situation? But you hate him. We're not going to get into that whole conversation. Anyway, the Seahawks are going to win this game. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Kenneth Walker. That Rams defense, it's been better than expected with missing Aaron Donald. But there's no reason for them to. I don't see why they'd win this one. Seahawks are playing for a lot more. They're playing at home. The 12th man is going to be live and active. Seahawks win this one. More talented offense, playing for something. If the Rams pull it, good for Baker. Another storyline to this season.
Oh, the 12th man. The 12th man is a myth, Tristan. The 12th man is in your head. And the beauty of the Baker Mayfield roller coaster this season on the Rams, he wins a game, he loses a game. He wins a game, he loses a game. And you know what happens next? He wins a game. He's going to win a game this week. Paired with the Blade NFL collusion. We'll get into that a little bit later. On to the final 4:25 p.m. game where the 49ers square off against the Arizona Cardinals. And the Cardinals quarterback situation, how would you describe that, Tristan? Give me one word to describe the Cardinals quarterback situation.
As bad as their head coach.
That is several words. Goodness. But say what you want about the 49ers, lack of experience going into the postseason at the most important position. They are going to throttle the Arizona Cardinals and lock out that 2 seed. This game's not going to be close.
Yeah, ever since they rest Christian McCaffrey a little in this one after the game gets out of hand. But with Brock Purdy back there, they've won 5 in a row with him. The offense has really been clicking. We all know how good that defense is. The Cardinals, even in close games, they just let the game get away from them. It seems like they've forgotten how to win games this season. Even when Kyler Murray was back there with his ACL intact. So 49ers should win. They're also still looking to maybe claim the 1 seed if the Eagles find a way to lose to the Giants.
ACL addiction and Call of Duty addiction, whatever, intact. Now, here's the conspiracy theory portion of the podcast. Final game flexed into Sunday night by the league. You'll notice I got my board behind me nice and well drawn. I'll be adding some stuff to it this week. The Detroit Lions are going to Green Bay to play the Packers, and the NFL would love the Packers to win this game. It would make them ecstatic if Aaron Rodgers, the fraud, the phony, but the superstar, made it to the postseason. They would love that. They are chomping at the bit to push that to no end. If the Seahawks lose their matchup to the Rams, and keep in mind the Rams will have everything in their favor the league can do in their favor, the Lions have nothing to play for. The only thing they have to play for is being the spoiler of the Packers. So I think Dan Campbell may be able to get that team going for that. But still, if this game does not become a win and get in situation, the Packers are going to get in. It's collusion. They want the Lions to feel dejected going into this. The only way the Lions have a shot at this is if the Seahawks manage to I've lost my train of thought here. I'll let you pick this up.
Seahawks managed to lose.
I'll re-rack my conspiracy theory here in a second and go again after you.
Either way, even if the Lions aren't playing for anything, a Dan Campbell-led team doesn't strike me as a team that is not going to play their hardest, even if they don't have a shot at the playoffs. They play hard for Dan Campbell. Unfortunately for them, the Packers are finally what I thought they were going to be at the beginning of the season. Their defense is finally firing on all cylinders. They look competent. They've been very good over recent weeks, and their offense has really gotten into the swing of things. Christian Watson has become a bigger piece of that offense. Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, Romeo Doubs, they've really built more of a chemistry with Aaron Rodgers, and they've developed more of a flow to their offense. Robert Tunyon's finally getting involved again. So the Packers are red hot. As cool as I think it would be to see the Lions in the playoffs with all that Dan Campbell's gone through and the way that Lions organization has turned around post the Matthew Stafford trade, I think the Packers win this one. They're in Lambeau. They're red hot. The defense is much better than it was earlier in the season. I think the Packers pull out the victory.
Okay, I've recircled the conspiracy theory. I was wrong about a few things. I went in there shorthand. I'm going to lay it out for you now. I've got 7.5 minutes. I'm going to need all of them. So, the NFL is actually going to favor the Seahawks on this one. They are going to give the 12th man. They're going to give Geno. They're going to give Kim Pilar. They're going to give DK every single call they possibly can. They want Seattle to win this game. They want them to ensure that Detroit Lions will be eliminated from the playoffs before kickoff even starts. Because if the Detroit Lions are down and dejected in some way, shape, or form, they are not going to be at 1%. They might be at 99%. And as much as I hate to say it, they need to be at 102% to beat the Green Bay Packers right now. The Packers are hot. They got Aaron Rodgers on fire. The NFL wants to push their narratives and their storylines of the so-called people's champion, all those MVPs, some people who are blind's GOAT. They want to see him in the postseason before they see Geno Smith or before they see Jared Goff, Dan Campbell, Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift, Penei Sewell, not TJ Hawkinson anymore, but Aiden Hutchinson. They want to see the sexy star quarterback in the postseason before they see the working man, the little guy. Dan Campbell's Motor City Maulers. They don't want to see that. They want to see Lions fail. And for that reason and that reason alone, I'm going to pick the Packers to win this one. But there is solace, NFL fans. There is some justice in the universe. Because with a win here, the Green Bay Packers ensure themselves a trip to Levi Stadium, where they will be massacred for the third time in Aaron Rodgers' career by the San Francisco 49ers. This time in the first round of playoffs by Mr. Relevant himself, Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. Every part of that defense is going to humiliate Aaron Rodgers. So there is a silver lining. So the NFL is colluding to get Aaron Rodgers to the playoffs.
So what I just got out of all of that is, your prediction was a little bit different earlier, and you don't even understand the collusion, but you're yelling and screaming at the top of the lungs that there is collusion.
I had to look at the wall. I understand it. Now, I had not researched the conspiracy theory well enough.
But you just knew there was a conspiracy.
I knew there was a conspiracy theory. I knew it was involving the Packers getting into the playoffs. I had to recircle the wagons here. But, the NFL fan, the casuals at home, they now know. They know what we've been trying to say for a long time. The NFL is a private organization. They're entertainment. They're not a sport. They don't care about what you think. They don't care about fairness. They want ratings. Whew, I hate it. I despise it. As a lover of sport, I hate it. And you should too. You should cheer for the Lions. You should cheer for the Rams. You should cheer for America on this one. And they're putting chemicals in the water to turn your quarterback. Yeah, no. Later. One day I will address this wall on camera. And that day is the day many truths will be revealed about the sports.
Are you just going to keep going with your conspiracies?
Okay, let's do a few more conspiracy theories. That New York Knicks Patrick Ewing draft, they clearly had that envelope in the freezer. You can see Stern fumbling around in that big old ball of lottery draft picks, reaching for something. Oh, got the one envelope. Oh, not that one. Got the other. Oh, not that one. Oh, this nice icy cold one in the biggest sports market in the world of New York. Yeah, I'm gonna pick that one and send the star player, the player of the future, to New York. There's collusion there. The NBA, everyone knows the lottery is rigged. Victor Wham Bam Yana belongs to the Charlotte Hornets, but he is not going to wind up there because the NBA will not allow a star player in addition to LaMelo Ball to find their way to Charlotte because they hate Michael Jordan and they want to push the narrative LeBron's the GOAT. And they think somehow MJ's failure as an owner will raise LeBron's status once he inevitably buys the new Seattle or Las Vegas sports team.
Anything else?
What else? Oh yeah, the NFL has introduced a dead ball era throughout its league. You can see the hitting numbers going down. That's because the MLB has been jacking with their ball. You know what the only times they don't jack with the ball are? They throw the regular ball out there for Yankees games, big primetime games, and some playoff games. They are making their artificial ratings substantially higher by throwing the live balls out. You can see it in the Field of Dreams game they have every year. That score is always like 7-8 or something like that in the final. And the regular baseball game is like 2-1. They're using those loaded Mickey Mouse baseballs to try and make it seem more entertaining than national anthem. And I think it's working, but still, it's collusion, it's conspiracy.
Anyway, that has been the podcast. I think Isaiah lit one up before we recorded this with the way, he's coming at me with his conspiracies.
I know the truth, and I'm trying to give you the truth.
Like the video, comment what you guys think about the conspiracies down below. Week 18, we'll see you for some playoff predictions next week. See you in the next one. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Peace.